Deep inside the fires of Mount Doom, the ring-bearer makes his final choice. Frodo claims the ring, and this time Gollum fails to intervene. But Frodo lacks the immense spiritual stature required to master the artifact. He is swiftly captured by the Nazgul, and the One Ring is returned to its creator. The consequences are immediate. Without the ring destroyed, the allied army of the West assembled at the Black Gate is systematically annihilated. Aragorn and his forces fall. With the primary political and military leadership of men destroyed, Sauron faces no remaining unified resistance. The moment Sauron reclaims his weapon, the 3 Elven rings are corrupted. Their preservative magic fails instantly, leaving Rivendell and Lothlorien exposed and rapidly decaying. At the same time, the black fleets of the Corsairs of Umbar establish a permanent blockade along the Gulf of Lune. Evacuation to the Undying Lands is entirely cut off. The armies of Mordor march on the Gondorian capital.
Minas Tirith is sacked. Its surviving captains are paraded as corpses on banners, and the White City is renamed Minas Duath, the Tower of the Shadow. By destroying the elvish sanctuaries and sealing the borders, Sauron traps the remaining populations of Middle-earth. There is nowhere left to run. To understand what happens next, we have to recognize that Sauron is not a chaotic destroyer like his former master, Morgoth. He doesn't want to burn the world to ash. What Sauron actually desires is perfect order. He categorizes the free will of elves, men, and dwarves as wasteful friction that must be eliminated to achieve absolute efficiency. This map shows the geopolitical hierarchy shift. Easterlings and Haradrim migrate westward to become the new ruling class. The Western remnants become a slave class, integrated into state-directed networks connecting mountain strip mines directly to agricultural sectors in Gondor. The resulting empire operates as a heavily bureaucratized, highly industrialized machine designed to regulate every aspect of life on the continent. But physical coercion alone cannot maintain a perfectly frictionless society. To achieve self-sustaining compliance, Sauron requires complete spiritual domination. He revives the ancient Morgoth worship he pioneered in Numenor. A massive, oppressive temple of black stone and iron is constructed in the center of Minas Duath, housing a perpetual altar fire. By forcing the local populace to participate in ritual human sacrifice, Sauron binds his subjects to a shared legacy of guilt. This participation creates a psychological threshold. Once complicit in these atrocities, the moral standing to rebel feels permanently out of reach. Yet one demographic outlier remains. The Dwarves, engineered by the god Aule to be tough and unyielding, are naturally resistant to mental domination. Unable to integrate them, Sauron abandons diplomacy. He orders a relentless, subterranean military campaign to breach their sealed gates and exterminate the dwarven race entirely. By eliminating the capacity for moral rebellion and systematically weeding out unyielding minds, Sauron creates a society locked in a state of compliance. But in Middle-earth, the exercise of such power comes with a metabolic spiritual cost that ensures this empire cannot last forever. Enforcing absolute compliance on a global scale demands a continuous, exhausting projection of personal spiritual power. Sauron must actively suppress the independent wills of millions of rational beings. This diagram illustrates the strain. Sauron uses the One Ring as a constant psychic magnifier to project his will. Over centuries, this high-intensity mental projection forces his spiritual power to slowly disperse into the very matter of the world he is trying to control. His success accelerates his decline. The very act of maintaining his perfect machine drains him, eventually reducing the God King to a powerless, spent shell. Without the sharp pressure of his direct will, his physical empire begins to rot. Vast industrial networks fall into disrepair, and subterranean gears grind to a silent halt. Regional governors realize the Dark Tower is no longer watching. Corrupt human satraps and mutinous orc chieftains carve the edges of the empire into localized fiefdoms, redirecting state resources for themselves. In the margins, organized resistance returns. Surviving dwarves launch coordinated strikes from deep vaults. and the Blue Wizards orchestrate massive religious rebellions deep within the eastern provinces. In Arda, the absolute dominance of evil is a self-limiting phenomenon. The obsessive pursuit of total control inevitably dilutes and destroys the very power required to sustain it.